Both the Yankees and the Mets, what they did, leave me flat. I wanted more. I thought they could have done more. But the only thing that takes me off the ledge, who did? Who got that player that would have changed everything? So when you look at the players that were dealt, and I'm not giving Brian Cashman a pass here, because I did ask him about this in the interview that was at 4 o'clock. He's been accused of being a prospect hugger. He said he's not. And then he brought up, well, what would people say if I had traded Aaron Judge when he was a kid? So you hold on to some. But there are people that he held on too long. Miguel Andujar, Clint Frazier, Gary Sanchez. Their value completely ruined. Estevan Florial. And they didn't turn out to be anything. But he never has gotten hurt either trading somebody that turned into be a great player. But nobody great, no needle mover was really acquired. So I guess that's the one salvation for the Yankees and the Mets. Now, the Yankees, I think, are closer to a championship team even without making moves than the Mets were. Because the Mets are a surprise. They play great. They have thrust themselves into the playoff picture, and they probably needed a big-time starter. Again, I can't rip David Stearns, and we put in for David. Let's see if he will come on the show. He doesn't do a lot of these interviews, but there's not that big starter that was traded. It's not like they missed out on Blake Snell. It's not like they missed out on Tarek Skubal. Those guys weren't traded. The best guy that got traded is Jack Flaherty, and the Dodgers got him. I think the Dodgers made some great moves. They've improved their team. I think the Orioles improved their team. And that, if I'm the Yankees, scares me.
And by the way, if you believe Brian, they tried in earnest to get Jack Flaherty, and as he put it, it didn't match.
Right. And the reports from yesterday, if you remember, that the Yankees backed out on the deal because of medicals. He's saying that's not true. He said they couldn't match up.
Which, by the way, I was doing the show earlier with Anthony, and I asked him as a Yankee fan his feeling. He said it actually would have made him feel better if it was that they backed out because of the health stuff.
And the thing that really stings is that one of the things that they got back from the Dodgers is Trey Sweeney, who's a Yankee draft pick, a former first rounder by the Yankees. And the Yankees traded him to the Dodgers this offseason for Victor Gonzalez, and Victor Gonzalez ended up being designated for assignment by the Yankees. He did not pitch well. So that hurts a little bit. The Dodgers didn't give up that much. So I'm sure that what the Dodgers gave up, the Yankees certainly could have matched that. But maybe the Tigers wanted more from the Yankees. Who knows? Maybe the Tigers blinked at the last moment and took the Dodger offer. But there's nobody that was traded that really gets me. But I'm going to be honest, I expected more from both. I think the Mets needed a big starter more than the Yankees needed a power arm in the bullpen. Although I think the Yankees do need a power arm. Because I will agree with fans about one thing. He's a thrill a minute. I think Clay Holmes is better than Yankee fans think he is. But when you blow 5 out of 7 games, those are 5 important games for the Yankees. But then you look at the game last night that the Yankees ended up winning in 12 innings. That was a blown save in name only. He didn't get hit hard. He had great stuff. But the thing that worries me about him, he's your closer, and he does not miss bats. He makes you put the ball in play. And I asked Aaron Boone today a question about, would you ever think about putting in 5 infielders when he's on the mound? This way, you have a lot of the holes covered. You could play more closer to the plate because a lot of these slow rollers end up being hits. And he said he's thought about it, but you have to have the right outfield combination. Like last year when Oswaldo Cabrera was in the outfield, and you could move him into the infield. But when you've got Soto, Judge, and Verdugo, they don't translate to the infield. So the Yankees are thinking these things through to try to make him more shut down. But remember, in the first 70 games, he was shut down. It's only recently that he's been blowing saves. We'll see. They're going to roll with him. They're going to ride and die with him. And they didn't see a reliever out there that they thought was going to be able to step in and be the guy that they didn't, according to Brian, they didn't want to supplant him as the closer. So they ended up getting Mark Leiter Jr., who ended up pitching yesterday and today, got out of a bases-loaded jam today by striking out Brandon Marsh. That was huge. And from what I hear about Mark Leiter, he's got big cubes. He's not afraid of anything. 33 years old, not afraid of anything, and he is the swing and miss guy that the Yankees have looked for. They also got Enyel De Los Santos from the Padres, so we'll see if their bullpen's better. They expect Ian Hamilton back. They expect Nick Birdy back, and they're also expecting Scott Efros. So if they get those guys back, their bullpen does get better. But again, your closer is Clay Holmes. And the Yankees are going to have to live with it because they believe in him. And as Brian said, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and you'll see the money that he commands, how people look at him as a closer. So I don't think he's as bad as Yankee fans say. I don't think he's Mariano. I don't think anybody is. But I'd say he's more in the upper echelon than the lower echelon. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Tristan in Nashville. Tristan.
Hey, how you doing, Michael?
Good, how are you?
Peter, how you guys doing?
Good. Hey.
Doing great. First time caller. I'm going to go ahead and say this, Michael. As a college kid, growing up, listening to you calling Yankee games, you've inspired me to become a journalist and try to pursue radio and TV career.
Wow.
So thank you for that, man.
Good luck, man.
Thank you. I just want to touch on something you were just talking about, talking about how Clay Holmes and I cannot blame him for, the game going into extra innings yesterday, from my seat. I know you have a much better one. His stuff looked great.
It was great.
His slider was working really nice, and his sinker was doing great. He got 2 double play balls that they just couldn't turn it, and the only hard hit ball was the Bryce Harper ball that Gleyber Torres bails him out. And, Clay Holmes makes a great play covering the bag at first to get them out of the inning. I don't think that every pitcher in baseball is going to remember, oh, my goodness, let me get over to the bag, in that scenario with such a high leverage opportunity to go. And if you are looking for someone to blame, I have to say you have to blame, the front office for not going to get you your swing and miss guy, if that's who you want to blame. Now, I don't think Brian Cashman necessarily did a bad job this deadline. I graded a B- because Jazz Chisholm has taken the Yankees by storm. And that's just my thought process on it. I don't think you can blame Clay Holmes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a defender of him. He's definitely had some bad blown saves. But I cannot wholeheartedly blame him for yesterday, especially seeing what he did today.
And Tristan, I got to tell you, and we thank you for the phone call and good luck with your career. Not all blown saves are created equal. There are different ones. There are times that Clay Holmes comes in, he has nothing, and they're squaring him up and they're hitting bullets. Those are legitimate blown saves. I don't look at yesterday as one. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm sorry, I just don't. And then remember the game that he blew, Peter, where the Yankees gave them 4 outs? I mean, there's some that, you could say, well, he's not as bad as people are making him out to be. He's a thrill a minute. Yankee fans certainly don't want to be worried when he's on the mound. They want to go back to the days of Mariano, but that's one in a generation.
What did you make of the ground ball to Chisholm yesterday that it seemed like he was a little bit slow getting out of his glove?
You mean the one right down the line?
Yeah.
I thought that it was foul. I thought that if he had let it go, it would have been foul, but Joe Girardi said it was a fair ball. So I don't think he was slow getting it out of the glove. I just think that the way it was hit and right down the line, that it was tough for him to get it.
And then how about today? I don't think we spent any time talking about just the awful play by Torres at second that it could have ended up costing the Yankees the game today. Ended up being the 5th run.
Yeah, I think he's got to knock that ball down. He has not been good at second base. There's no way to make it pretty. He has not played a great second base. He has more errors than any second baseman, and that ball has to be knocked down. Yeah, it was hit really hard, but I hate the new excuses in baseball, where base hits are given on hard hit balls that are booted. Well, it was hit really hard. I don't care. You have a glove. I know there are a lot of hard hit balls.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
So you got to make those plays. And, I mean, it might come back to haunt them at some point. He's got to tighten up his defense. Let's go to Joey Clams. He wants to talk about that. Joey.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
How's everything? Hey, Pete. How are you? How you doing?
Hey, Joey. How you doing?
Yeah, listen, Mike. How you doing, Pete? It's gonna come. It's gonna. The ball's gonna find you. It always does, especially in the playoffs. Mike, it's every game he's making a mistake or he's nonchalant. The ball from the outfield. Put the kid down hard. He was acting like he didn't even know it was coming. He goes out there like he's playing on cloud 9 without a care. It's going to catch up with us, and it's going to find us, and it's going to find us in the playoffs. Hopefully, DJ LeMahieu could wake up and get his back going, put him at third, and put Chisholm at second base because you have to. You can't have this guy in the field. You got to be strong up the middle, especially in the playoffs. This is the major leagues. Go ahead, buddy.
No, he's been bad at second base. I can't put lipstick on a pig here. I think they're committed to staying with him. DJ could also play second base, but he also has been hitting lately. So he's not going to be back next year. That we know. So Jazz Chisholm is going to be your second baseman for the next 2 seasons. But You know, if they want to go as far as they say they want to go, he's going to have to play better. His hitting has been better, but defensively he just has to be better. Frank in New Jersey. Frank.
Hi, Michael. How you doing today?
Good. How are you, Frank?
Peter. Hey, I'm all right. Thanks. I'm happy with the Yankees coming back around. It was funny listening to all the people jumping off the ship when they had that losing streak. We knew they were going to have one, but that's okay. My point today, two things. I really believe, Aaron Judge is having a career year today if he doesn't have one every year. But I think we can attribute a lot of Aaron Judge's success this year is to Juan Soto. Soto has made him a better hitter this year, in my opinion. Your opinion on that?
Why do you think he's made him a better hitter? I mean, he won an MVP in 2022 without him.
Oh, that's true. My point, because Aaron is now seeing. Well, Soto takes a lot of pitches,
right?
And I think he's very attuned to that, and he watches all of this, and plus they communicate a lot.
Well, I think they've certainly both helped each other. But, on the flip side for Judge, he's doing all this, and for a lot of the season, he has not had anybody hitting behind him that is a threat. I'm still shocked that anybody pitches to him. I was in the hallway during one of the games with Dave Dombrowski, the GM of the Phillies, and I said, we were talking about how great Soto and Judge have been. I said, why do people even pitch to him? And he said, well, you can't walk both of them. I said, why not? Why can't you walk both of them? Let the guys behind you beat you. But they do walk Soto, and then Judge comes up. How about this stat that we had today, Peter? This one really made me go, wow, I can't believe that's true. So coming into today, an 80-game stretch for Judge, he hit 370, 35 home runs, and 86 runs batted in. In the history of baseball, in the history of this great game, only one other player in the history of the game has ever done that over an 80-game stretch, and that's Babe Ruth.
Holy crap.
He did it 3 times in his career. No other player has ever had an 80-game stretch like this. So when you look at Judge, who's on pace right now for 59 home runs and 147 runs batted in, this guy hit 207 in March and April. And he's having a season that they will be talking about for a long time. So does Soto help him? I'm sure, and I'm sure that Judge helps Soto. But Judge is having such a great year that there's no way that you can even think about Soto winning the MVP, and he's putting up an MVP season. The two of them have been unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's go to
all the more reason you just have such expectations for this team.
And you should.
What a waste it would be.
You should. Eric in Manhattan. Eric.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Peter. It's great to talk to you, a long-time listener.
What's going on?
I've been listening actually since 2005. Not to qualify, I know how you hate that, but
I love it.
I'm not one of these frauds that calls up and says, "Oh, you make my commute great." I listen from 3 to 6:30 since 2005. When you were at different time slots. Loved Peter. Loved when he was at it. I started listening to Ebro actually the day they interviewed the Bagel Boss. Great show.
Wow,
might be a lost
an important moment. An important moment in the history of the show. Yeah, no, I feel you. Thank you, buddy.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, I love that the Yankees are back in it. A great 6-game stretch. I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people call up and they say, oh, Yankee fans, they don't appreciate what's going on. They don't appreciate the winning, even though they don't get the championship. I've been a fan for a long time. I've been up and down. And I have a comp, actually, that I'd like to throw at you.
Okay.
You might say it's apples and wrenches, but this is the way I look at it. Say your friend is a race car driver and you go to watch him race every year, right? And this guy is like in the top 5 of every race. You're there, you're excited, you're pumped, and then all of a sudden in the last lap, the guy crashes. And you say to yourself, well, you know what? That was awesome. You were up in front. You know what? Next year. We'll try again next year. And then after 15 years of the guy crashing in the last lap of every race, you think you're going to feel the same way about it that you did in the first couple of years? Still excited, but you know what? Now you're to the point where it's like, okay, we definitely got to get over that hump now. I appreciate the winning and, like, the guy leading, but, we get to the end and we crash every year. And
well, I hear what you're saying, but, one man's crash is another man's celebration. So, but the Yankee fans have been raised and they've been indoctrinated and almost brainwashed into thinking if you don't win a championship, it's a failure. So I can't criticize fans that feel it's a failure because the organization has told them that. If we don't win a championship, it's a bad season. The players say that too. So who am I to sit here and bash fans for being upset? But, I mean, you should sit back and kind of enjoy the good baseball you're seeing over a number of years, making the playoffs all the time, being over 500. Yeah, the ultimate goal is not reached in the last 15 years, but it seems like they always have a chance. Let's go to Carl in Brooklyn. Carl.
How you doing, Mike and Peter? How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just want to tell you, if you guys, if you're sure you haven't had a chance yet, but you have to listen to the final call of Ricky Ricardo on the radio. He is phenomenal. The last play of the game, I was driving my car. He went crazy on that last play on the double play. He's amazing. And listening to him and Susan is very similar to when John was there, when Sterling was there. This is Sterling and Susan. It's like you're watching the game sitting on your front porch. I mean, he is the only guy for the job. These other guys are really too bland, and Ricky's got a great flair about him.
Well, I mean, Ricky does have flair, and I like Ricky. I like Ricky personally. I don't get a chance to hear him that much. When I'm in the car, I hear the highlights driving home. But you know what? In fairness, I think Justin Shackle and I think that Emmanuel Barberi, they've done great jobs. So it's going to be a very tough choice. I don't know who they're going to hire, but Ricky has obviously shined when he's in there.
Can I say something you can't say, because you have to be completely objective? Isn't Ricky like a serious radio veteran at this point?
Yes, he's been doing Yankee Spanish radio for a while, and he's the Spanish radio voice of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, call me an old hag. I don't know what you want to call me, but I don't. The other guys are fantastic. Actually, I've heard them all, and I think they've all been really good. But I don't know. Those guys are so young. I feel like this is a guy who, if you don't get the shot now at this big moment, when do you get it? Those kids still have an opportunity to make that big moment happen. I feel like for Ricky Ricardo, this is that moment.
Yeah, but I don't think that somebody's age should be used against them either. I think you picked the best guy, and again, Ricky's been great, and I think Justin and Emmanuel have been great.
No, but experience is an important thing that people deserve credit for. Mm-hmm. This is the premier franchise in all of sports. It's the New York Yankees, for God's sake.
Oh, I get it. I know. I'm very well aware.
They don't give these jobs to chimps.
I hope they haven't. Let's go to Joe in MetLife. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Mr. K, how you doing? Great show.
Thanks, Joe.
2 questions. Yep. Yankees, Mets, Jets, or Giants within the next 3 years. Who do you see winning a championship? And does Aaron Judge win a championship with the Yankees? I'm a diehard Yankee fan.
I think of those 4. I think the Yankees, Yankee season, they'll crown a champion before the Jets and the Giants play. I don't think the Giants are a championship team this year. The Jets have a chance. I think the Mets are a playoff team. So if you're asking me of those 4, who would I think has the best chance to win a championship? It would be the Yankees. And would Judge win a championship in his time with the Yankees? I would hope so. I mean, he's going to be a Yankee for another 7 years at least. So we'll see. I mean, it would be a crime if he didn't, but we've seen it happen before with Don Mattingly. Let's go to Paul in Saratoga. Paul.
Michael, how are you? It's good to talk to you. And Peter, I have a little bone to pick with you.
Yes.
Because when one of us calls up and says to our eye, Clay Holmes is not a top-rate closer, and we see that he has the most blown saves in the league, and you tell us, well, we really are looking for Mariano Rivera. But we're smart enough to know we don't need Mariano, but we had Robinson, we had Chapman, and I'm just going to say to your eye, Holmes is not a closer. His stuff is 7th, 8th inning. He strikes nobody out. Too many balls in play. I just don't think he's the guy.
Oh, all right, that's your opinion, but he is the guy right now. And you liked Aroldis Chapman blowing every big game he ever pitched for the Yankees. You liked him as a closer?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I think you see what we see. And so it surprises me that the Yankees don't see it differently. Why do we have to live and die with him?
That's the choice they've made to close. They believe that he's a great closer. No, I shouldn't say great. They believe that he's a closer that they can win a championship with. Paul, it's going to be interesting because Cashman brought this up. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Let's see if anybody bites. Let's see if he gets big money. I don't think he's going to get the money that Josh Hader got, but I bet he's paid well. Now, I don't know if the Yankees are going to bring him back. I have no idea. Maybe they move on and bring somebody else in. But at this point, they think he's the best at what they can get. I'm sure they were investigating. He could say that we're very happy with Holmes as a closer. And again, you're saying he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. And I see the blown saves too. And if I had my druthers and I had a closer, I'd want him to be a swing and miss guy that could strike people out. I get it. Because if you put the ball on the ground and you put the ball in play, there's a chance it's going to find a hole. And that's always frustrating. He made the All-Star team. He was chosen by not fans. He was chosen by players and the managers and the coaches. He made the All-Star team. So to say he's a bum or that he's not good enough to be a closer, he was an All-Star. And he didn't have to he didn't have to be an All-Star, Peter, for the Yankees to have a representative. They already had to. He was chosen by the managers and the players. So people must think he's pretty good.
But I also certainly understand why fans might feel like, even though he's pretty good, he doesn't feel like the closer.
He's not great. I think that's it, Peter.
Yeah, I think that's probably what most people feel. But the response that he's an all-star, what does that do for a Yankee fan? They don't care.
But my point is that Yankee fans are portraying he's not good enough. He's good enough to be one of the best in the game.
But not good enough in their eyes to be an effective closer.
But
aren't those both possible?
He's effective to be a lights-out closer. I don't think he's a lights-out closer. But I would ask everybody out there, tell me the lights-out closer. You could say Josh Hader is, but, he just had a bad game. You could say Edwin Diaz was that 1 year. He hasn't been since. There aren't a lot of lights-out closers. The Orioles, Kimbrel is going to blow games for them all the time. And the Orioles might be the best team in the American League if you don't think the Yankees are. So, yeah, there aren't a lot of lights-out closers. It's a tough job, and it's tough to get a guy that you think is going to be perfect. Holmes not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. He's not perfect. Would I rather have a swing and miss guy? I most certainly would. He's not a swing and miss guy. But that's who they have, and that's who they're riding till the end of the year.